Hey guys,
Hey.
welcome to episode 5 of What You Saying?
What you saying?
We're back. We're better. We took a little break. It was like 3 weeks.
It was
but
well needed.
We're back. It was well needed.
I need to relax.
How was your holidays?
Oh God. I mean, I needed to re-womanize. I needed to recharge my batteries, you know? I needed to realize who I was, how I was, take a 3-week retreat from life, you know, go somewhere. Didn't go anywhere because bloody lockdowns and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, that's
How about
great.
you?
We have our beautiful guest today,
Yes.
Marwan.
We didn't even introduce him yet.
Marwan,
Woo!
hello. I'm Elouali. I go by the Red Snake on Instagram. My
The
pronouns
Red
are
Snake.
he,
I know.
him.
I love it.
And I guess my holiday was great. It was busy. I was just working. Yeah.
Material girl.
Honestly, Saucy Chantelle, please sponsor this because honestly, every day,
It's just-
every TikTok,
Every TikTok. Okay.
it's good. That's progress.
Yeah. So on this, I think we've talked about like the gay community a lot on this podcast.
Yeah, I think even the gays are tired of hearing us.
Well, welcome to POCs in queer spaces.
There we go.
The entire episode is about. So starting off, like, what is the definition of queer? Like, what would you say is the definition of queer? What does
I would
it
ask
mean?
my guest first, my love. What do you think?
Oh.
Yeah,
Am I
putting you on
jumping
the
right
spot.
I think like queer to me is it's just expressing yourself
Yes.
in whatever way form without hurting people in a
Mhm.
sense of, you know, you should just treat yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
According to Google,
Oh. Yeah. Go on. Read it.
queer originally means strange or peculiar, and came to be used. That's a big boy word, but basically means with disapproval. It's like pejoratively against homosexuals in the late 19th century. So it's
wow.
like it's a homophobic slur.
Queer.
Oh, it is.
A lot of people,
How
a lot
do you use
of
that?
a lot of people don't. A lot of like people in the LGBT community don't like being called queer because
Really?
like it is quite like I don't think here as much it's like that, but in
I think to
America,
American,
it's
yeah.
quite like a very like aggressive like word to use.
There was like, yeah. Also, go on, my love.
Carry on.
Oh yeah. I was just gonna say, like, because you say that, and yeah, that reminds me because there was that episode of the Umbrella of the Academy. And I do remember, like, there was that episode where they get because in the second season, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but
Oh no.
they get transported back in time, and like there is an episode because one of the characters is bisexual, and they have a whole like I think they have a good 2 episodes like where they kind of navigate those issues for a bit, not for too long. But just for a bit, for you to understand enough of what was going on, and they do like say queer. They don't say the F slur, but they do say queer as like a pejorative slur. And yeah, it's crazy. I personally love being called queer. I don't know, I love it. As a
How do you feel about the word? How do you feel about the word queer? Do you like being called queer?
I thought queer meant query, like
Oh, as in QUERIE.
yeah, like it's a query, like. I thought that's what it was.
I mean, like it means like strange, like out of the ordinary. So I think that's where like it originates from. But then people started using it as a
you
slur.
know,
You know what I
yeah.
mean?
So you know the word like queer, like oh my god, like you're queer. I feel like that means like you just don't labelize what you're doing. It's a query to you.
Yes,
Yeah, that's why I
some
like
people
it.
some people like identify as queer.
Queer,
Like the
yeah.
Q in LGBTQ stands for queer.
There's even an artist, I think, who like a lot of artists like
a
will
lot
label
of people
themselves as queer.
identify as like
Sometimes
queer.
it's also easier for marketing purposes, I swear. Because
Is
then
it?
if you label yourself as queer, it can actually, maybe it won't scare away the homophobic fans too much.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
sometimes.
Really?
I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. That's how I feel about
Do
Harry
you have
Styles
homophobic
sometimes.
fans?
Do I have homophobic fans? Not my fans. Not my. I don't think so. Do you have
Everyone
homophobic fans?
has homophobic
Do I have an
fans.
only? Wait, what?
Do you have homophobic
Any homophobic
fans?
fans?
Oh my God. To be fair, I did have like the type of friends back then, like ex-friends,
Yeah.
who would like, they liked me because I wasn't the gay. I was just the gay. I was just like, oh yeah, Enzo, who's like,
They're like, oh yeah, you're
He's
gay, but
gay.
like you don't make your
Yeah.
entire personality.
yes,
like,
oh
you're
my
different.
I
goodness.
hate that.
You're not
I
like
hate that
the
so
other
much.
gays.
That's so weird.
You're
so
like
cringe.
gay, whereas everyone else is like gay. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I was like, girl, I'm still out here wearing dresses and like watching RuPaul's Drag Race. I don't know how much gayer I can get,
Yeah.
you know? It was just really weird. But they love to do that. They love to kind of like make sure you don't jump too outside the box or get too, as you said, out of the ordinary.
Out of the
Or
ordinary.
you're queer.
Mm-hmm.
The throwback, full circle moment.
Reference. But I think there's a lot of like misunderstanding of LGBT terms in terms of like history, because there's like American queer history and then there's like the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people think queer history is just American history. Like people don't really talk about like what's happened here with like
don't know
the
what happened here.
laws
Keeping
and
it
like
real.
all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like even I did like a bunch of research and I found out that Pride is like done in memorial of the Stonewall riots that happened in America.
Oh, damn,
Wait,
very
what type of
familiar.
pride are we talking about? Talking about
Like Pride, like
the, you know, like the pride, like the floats.
yeah, like you know, like
Yeah, like as in the actual Pride Month
like, you know,
thingy.
like Pride Month, like Pride marches, like Pride parades, like
Yeah, like
going
the
out in the
Pride
streets with the
ads,
flags, like
you know?
yeah.
So
They
you know sometimes you go to those pride floats and like I haven't been to a pride with like the floats,
mhm.
but you know like
I haven't been to one either.
yeah.
I
I'm just
wish I went to
scared because you know
one.
how,
Yeah,
like,
same.
you know how you just go into like that pride and you see like the gays with like the latex and they're on like dog paws and they're getting
Me.
like,
The
collars and stuff
kinks.
like, that, like the kinky stuff.
I
So they
love
do
them.
that for
Yeah.
Stonewall.
I kind of love them.
Of
I
course-
think it's
of
sickening.
course you
I
do.
think it's sickening because you know what? I
is.
watched a well, no, I don't watch things, so I don't have that kind of time. But I read it, and there was this like article on like the Gay Times or something, and it did talk about how like the kink side of the community is actually like one of the most important ones, apparently, because they were like really one of the first
they
ones
did,
to
yeah.
unabashedly fight for gay sex and just say that it's normal, like to normalize it and to just show the beauty of it, the beauty of, like to like kind of make it something that is normal and infiltrate it into society in a way that is possible, you know?
Yeah, but there is also like a debate on showing kinks at Pride
There is.
because some people take it a bit too far, and then people are
I
like,
feel like it's not the right place.
Yeah, I see
feel
that
like,
sometimes.
I
I've seen
feel
the
like as
Twitter
well.
videos.
I feel like because a lot of like kids go to Pride because they're just like I guess like young people.
Yeah,
Because they're just like finding themselves, they're trying to like find other people like them.
I don't mind people wearing what
You know
they
what I
want
mean?
to wear. But it's
Yeah.
like, why are you walking on all fours with like a collar around your neck? It's
Yeah, like
it's the wrong time and the
we
wrong
love
place.
you, but like
Yeah, go to
Not
a
that much.
different Pride
Not that
then, or
much.
make
Not
it
that much to do stuff like
obvious.
that.
make it its own. Yeah. I
Make
get
it
what
like
you
the
mean.
kink
I
side
agree,
of
yeah.
Pride, but yeah, that's absolutely, you're
Make it
both
its own
very, very
pride.
right. Like, you need to kind of, you know, so sometimes, we do have to kind of cut it out a bit, you know, we have to grow up,
Yeah, me too.
you know, and just like be aware that, you know, kids are still learning, you know, and maybe they don't want to like.
and even like adults, like a lot of adults don't want to see that. Like,
yeah.
yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I don't want to see people like fucking in public. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they do that a lot.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
I've seen the Twitter vids, sis. It's
I love
honestly
the way you're
not
dragging
the
pride.
tea.
Like we're all saying it, dragging pride. Like yeah, the gays. That's what they're doing.
Announcement, guys. I'm asexual.
Are you actually?
Yeah, I am.
Oh, wow.
Coming out, guys.
Yeah, no, literally. Woo! Ace icon.
That's cute.
Thanks. But like when it comes to Pride and stuff like that, there's like a lot of stuff I can't watch the videos and stuff because it just make me feel really uncomfortable. Like even certain shows with like the really aggressive sex scenes, I'm like, whoa,
Oof,
skip.
Yeah, yeah.
But you know, it's different for everyone.
Could I say that's a pretty good segue into our next segment
Yes.
or topic segment, which is on representation in
Yes.
the queer community? How many episodes have we done on that, you guys? Like seriously?
Every single one.
we are draining this bone dry. We are
really
like
are.
rinsing off this rainbow flag until
Yeah.
there's
I
nothing
guess to
left.
start off, do you know what the full like LGBTQ plus like stands for? Like, do you know what they actually like
Oh,
all the letters stand
absolutely.
for?
But a
Go on.
lot of people don't.
Go on.
Lesbians,
Mm-mm.
gay, hold on, LGBT, all right, bisexual, trans,
Yep.
and then there's the I and the A, which is for intersex and asexual, and then you've got the
aromantic and agender.
Oh really? Oh, I didn't know there was. Oh really?
There's I think androgynous is also one of them. So it's like
Really?
asexual, aromantic, agender, and androgynous. Yeah, it's really
There's so
cute.
many. I love
the
it.
word androgynous.
Yeah, I like the
love
word
it.
androgynous as well.
It's hot.
Yeah.
It's hot and it's cool.
And then I think there's also like a P for pansexual.
actually,
like
I
the
don't think
full-
there is a P in the. There hasn't been a P for. I don't think.
I think the P is
I've never
new.
seen
I
a
think
P
it's
on
just
it.
the
Yeah.
plus, like,
I think the plus like
Continues,
adds
yeah.
the other ones.
Yeah.
like it continues them.
Yeah, and then
Because then it would just be like.
Because if you named all of
LGBT,
them,
like, it would just carry on.
Yeah, it would
would be
literally-
like, we wouldn't understand it.
yeah,
Do
like
you know what I mean?
you can't.
Yeah.
There's
I'm not
no
saying
space to
I'm not
add.
saying we wouldn't understand it.
We
but
know, we've
people
been
that were
new.
to look at it, they wouldn't like.
Understand.
Yeah, if they're just like long letters.
Yeah, there's just so many identities. It's just like
Yeah.
people feel like there's so much to talk about,
yeah.
and there really is. That's why we're going to talk about it every single episode.
Yeah. Well, do you know what? Because you brought up asexuality, and I love that because it's there is only one asexual character I know.
Yeah.
And I don't know if do you guys know any asexual representation? Let me ask you first, and then I'll see if you guys can catch.
The guy from BoJack Horseman.
The guy from BoJack Horseman. Literally what I was going to say. Todd Chavez, the character in
Shout out
BoJack
to
Horseman.
him. Big ups to him.
Very much
Shout
so.
out.
Are you familiar with the show BoJack Horseman? Oh, starring Will Arnett, created by Raphael Bob Waxabo. Please come to the school because you're very talented. No, honestly, he's great. Call me. Oh,
It's all right. Sorry, carry on.
okay.
Sorry, I just
Audio listeners,
okay.
someone's phone fell down.
Yeah, it's a great show, and it's like been praised for that asexual representation because that's I think that's the only one I can ever think of. Like, and they do a really good job at it because they finally gave like that character a much needed character development. So it felt really fitting for the last seasons for him to have him find himself and for him to like realize like different like finding love, learning about what aromantic means, learning about what asexual can mean. Do you know what I mean? And in the end, he finds his partner, and and they don't make a whole thing about like, oh yeah, she's asexual too. They just find something that works for them, and it just cuts to that.
Yeah.
It really worked.
I like that he had a partner. I think a lot of people think asexual means you don't want romance, or you can't be like in a romantic relationship. Like you can't be in a relationship. Because I think with relationships, people see like sex as a basis of a relationship. Like, or a boyfriend is like a friend, but you have sex with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Whereas like relationships can be a lot more than that or less than that, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's about companionship. And
obviously, I'm not stupid, but like, you never think of it like that.
Yeah.
No,
You know
you
what I mean?
don't.
Like, people don't think like that.
Yeah.
And it's nice to hear that.
Yeah.
Like, asexual people still want to be in relationships and still want to be loved, but not in the sense of their sexual desires. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, like the first time someone told me they were asexual, I thought that they meant like they didn't want like any. And I was like, oh, sick. And I didn't like ask them any questions about it. And then like 3 months ago, I was like, oh shit, I'm sexual.
Yeah.
Crazy.
That's
Crazy, dude.
amazing, man.
And then I had to like do all of this like crash course research. You know, when you like learn a new term or like a new community, you have to like do all this Googling. I was like, what does this even mean? Like, I don't know. Like,
yeah, because there's so little on it, honestly. Like, we have a long way to go. And I think we always tackle that every episode, but it's starting to get there. And it starts with Todd Chavez, It starts with Todd Chavez. And just, it's good that they just made him a character unlike any other. And people don't need to watch him because he's asexual. People can enjoy his like, because his whole character is literally him going on goofy adventures left, right, and center. Like he's just a comic relief that kind of gives audiences like a nice break from like
BoJack Horseman.
From BoJack Horseman, the character, because it's a very deep show.
Yeah.
So
when you said you hadn't watched BoJack Horseman, I was gonna be like, oh yeah, you should watch it, and I was like, actually,
it's really intense.
Is it like a TV show?
Yeah, you should. You should
is
watch
good. Is it like a cartoon or is it like a
it's
an adult cartoon.
Show.
It's an adult cartoon. It's got a lot of. It's had a lot of good like celebrity guest stars.
Wait, is it the one
on
I see on TikTok with like the horse head?
Yeah.
Yes.
The horseman.
I thought it was like kid show.
No.
Oh,
it's like an actual
absolutely not.
Yeah, like
very much adult.
It's not a kid show.
Yeah, it's an 18.
It's very much adult. Yeah.
But it's really like, it's got some great messages in it, and it very much
watch a couple episodes. Watch watch like the first 3 episodes. Dip your toes in.
See what it's like.
And if you want a deep episode, watch season 6, episode 6.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
aware, which
What a
is
skip.
I know, just a bit of a fan.
Season 6.
I know.
I didn't even know there were 6 seasons. I was like, what the fuck?
It's like a standalone episode. Like, you know the episode. Oh wait, no, that would be a spoiler. No, but like just when you get the chance to do watch episode 6 called Free Churro. It's like a really deep and very beautiful episode. So yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's cute.
Look at us having a bit of a film moment.
Look at us giving recommendations.
Yeah.
You should watch this film.
Just doing what we're doing.
Well, let me ask you this, my love. What kind of queer TV or just any TV are you guys watching at the moment that you think is like is actually, what shows you guys watching that you think is pushing the needle? Even backwards. Although preferably not backwards, but
There's not many.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I know like Grace is screaming in the background, but I always talk about She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. It's my favorite animated show. It's so good. Grace is beaming me up right now.
This is your first episode. You talk about
Grace, honestly.
I think I talked about it.
Then one of the characters, I searched them up.
Whenever I'm like having a bad day, I go back and I watch She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. It's like my comfort show.
I love
because
it
like
for
you
you.
go there and you know the representation is going to be good. You don't need to be like, it was good, but like if they did, it's perfect. It's amazing. Yeah, it does to a T.
What year?
That is so sick, honestly. I do need to watch it. I'm very sorry I haven't watched it yet. My sister loves it though. Like my younger sister.
Arcane.
Absolutely loves it.
Arcane.
Oh yeah, that League of Legends thing.
Yeah, you should see it. You should watch it.
What's it about?
League of Legends.
Just watch it. You don't need to know. Just watch it.
That's a bit
Just-
scary.
just-
It's like, what if I
Just
open
open
it?
it. Just open it and watch it. I haven't like finished
lesbianism
it.
involved.
I think like yeah,
Is there a bit
I
of
saw a thing that was
lesbianism?
like it's like I can't remember like the specific statistics, but it's a really like popular show and the main couple in it is a lesbian couple. Which is, like,
Nice.
cool.
That is
Pick up the
really cool.
lesbians.
Yeah, pick up the
Shout out the
lesbians. Real
lesbians.
talk. Because it's nice to have like lesbian TV shows that are like
Orange is
too
the Black.
Victorian. No,
Yeah.
I was talking about. No, I was,
First scene, all you see is.
no, you know what?
Yeah.
That I love. For me, it's the
It wasn't.
somber,
Don't get me wrong. It was actually a beautiful show.
Yeah.
As a whole.
But you thought it was too raunchy sometimes.
Yeah.
That is true because I mean to be fair, it's in a prison, but like yeah, I do get what you mean.
I just feel like sometimes people like.
They want to see the
I hate
beauty
to
maybe
be
of
that
it.
Yeah, they want to see the.
But you know, like I do
Yeah.
lack the representation and stuff like that. But I feel like sometimes gay people are just over sexualized in a sense.
Ryan Murphy.
Yeah, they
It's just
are.
like
They are.
there's
Ryan
scenes
Murphy.
after scenes of sex and sex and
Makes me
sex,
laugh.
and like it just fits the agenda of when you do tell people like I don't believe in like you have to tell people that you're gay or anything like in the first place, but when people do know that you know your sexuality and stuff like that, they always like their first thought is like sexualized. It was like, oh, but how do you do this? Or,
Yeah, it's
"But
also like,
you
oh, how
this,"
do you
and
do
it's
that? It's like,
Oh,
these
gosh,
TV
I remember
shows
those
and these
questions.
movies fit into the agenda, but it's in reality, like,
Yeah.
you know,
Bro, we're just living
all day
life,
with the day,
sis.
go home.
Like, what's going on?
it's not like that. It's
every day,
the
like all
normal-
night, all day.
yeah,
Like, take a
the
break,
normal-
take a walk.
Honestly. Oh, no, you wouldn't be able to take a walk after that. I don't think so. No
Of course
walking.
not.
No walking. Lie down. I hate that.
Not 59.
What is this? Moving on. Talking about.
I can't wait to get cancelled for this episode. I can't wait.
Talking about like representation and LGBT community, the queer community. I think it's very important to talk about the role that people of color have played like in LGBT history. Because I was talking earlier about Stonewall, and Stonewall's known as like one of the big things everyone knows.
Big up Marsha P. Johnson.
our
Yep.
queen.
Have you watched the movies then?
No, I haven't watched the movie. I haven't watched it.
Do you know what is a good thing
I
to
just
watch?
read like
though?
a bunch of articles. about it.
What's it called? Disclosure.
I should
Such a
watch that.
beautiful
Disclosure.
movie.
What's that?
Disclosure is really good because you rarely hear trans stories on screen. Disclosure is like an amazing documentary with like a bunch of trans actors and actresses, and it's like amazing
Mhm.
because it talks about like it's got Laverne Cox hosting it. Of course, I mean you need to have Laverne Cox. We're going to talk about trans royalty, Laverne Cox. But anyway, yeah, it talks about like how far they've come, the beginnings of like the stories that kind of talk about gender, either for comical relief, unfortunately so, or to actually groundbreak shows. You know, I mentioned Ryan Murphy very briefly, but yeah, he did do that. He did do that one show like in the early 2000s. Like my mom loves it, but it was like one of the first shows to have like trans protagonists before Orange is the New Black. But yeah, so there was that, but even that had its problems. But anyway, it's just a really good documentary because it even talks about like something I didn't think about, but the movies and shows we watched as a kid that we don't realize were problematic, like Ace Ventura. I don't know if it was the first one or the second one, but there's a scene in one of those where basically like Jim Carrey is like uncovering who the enemy was all along. And instead of the reveal being like, maniacal, evil, cartoonish villain, it's the real reveal is how he basically, in front of a bunch of police officers and reporters, pulls down this like female detective's trousers, and the whole punchline, I'm so sorry, like trigger warning or whatever, but like the whole punchline is that it turns out it was a trans woman, and it was playing on that like horrible joke that they have, whether that they have a penis on their back. And that was like the whole point of that was the reveal. That was somehow like the twist. It wasn't even that they were a villain. Like
that was the.
It was just, it was, or maybe that they were a villain because they were trans, or if they were trans.
I hate the idea of
villainized trans
villains.
person.
I hate
Yeah.
that.
It was very that, and it was like really crazy looking back at it because I love that movie growing up because you're like 8 when you're watching it, you know?
Yeah.
So you don't see it in the moment. But yeah, looking back, I was like, oh my God, like how did this even fly? Yeah, how did this even pass? Thank you. Yeah.
Who gave the
What a horrible word.
This is why. But I want to talk about Stonewall briefly, just for people who don't know. Because I've just been saying Stonewall, people
Please,
I don't know. So Stonewall are the riots that happened in, I believe it's
1969.
I know spread rumors.
It was 1969 if I remember. Yeah,
1969. Basically there was a police raid in the early morning at some gay and lesbian bars in Greenwich Village in
In the East
New
Village,
York.
New York.
And there was like a resistance from the drag queens and the gay men like in the bars, and that's why they say like Marsha P. Johnson led it, because she was one of the drag queens at the Stonewall Inn, and
Wasn't she the first one to throw a brick?
yeah, she was the first one to.
I thought that was a
throw a
myth
brick.
in the end. I can't
it?
tell.
There's like accounts
'Cause
that
I've
say that
heard-
she was the one who
I've
started
heard
it.
Yeah.
so much. I feel I've heard like, oh, it was like the masculine lesbians that threw the
Yeah.
first like brick, and then it
Yeah.
was.
I love it.
I looked
If
back
every
and,
part
like-
of the LGBT community has a
I
different
looked-
story on it. I would
Yeah,
love
like-
that.
I looked back
You know,
and
it
then,
was
like,
the trans people who did
the
it. No.
news at the time was very like when it was like being reported like, the next day, because it was the riot lost for 3 days, which I didn't even know.
Yeah,
There was so many like rumors about like who started it and like
Mhm.
what was actually going on. People thought that like they had just like started rioting. They didn't know that there was like a random police raid like in the early morning. Like it's always like early morning / like night the previous day,
Mhm.
and that was like there was also like a bunch of other like
Wait, was
riots
the-
and
was
movements and
the,
stuff.
Raid for no reason.
They just
Most likely, yeah.
homophobia.
They were always for no reason.
they were just
so-
raiding gay bars.
Heterosexual people like usual. Well,
Honestly.
heterosexual people, not to my nice heterosexuals.
Yeah.
So 3 nights of unrest followed, and the resistance, I think, is said to have completely transformed like gay liberation and trans revelation
Absolutely.
in the 20th century. And then a year after, to mark the anniversary of Stonewall, there were Pride events held in Chicago, LA, New York, and San Francisco. So Pride events, like as we know today, are held in June in honor of Stonewall.
Iconic. Honestly.
Big up.
What a
Big up
woman.
Marsha P.
Big up
Johnson.
Because I think it was her, and it was also another lady named Sylvia Rivera.
Sylvia Rivera, Stormy
trans Latin
Delaravie.
woman, trans Latin woman.
yeah,
I'm so
yeah,
tired.
yeah.
Oh,
Latina woman.
but yeah, I think it was her as well, and like they did like huge rallies and stuff like that. But there was this footage I found. I forget what I was watching, but there was this footage of her like speaking. But I think the crowd was like booing at her because she was Latin. It wasn't even because she was trans, but I think it was actually the queer community. It was something like that. But I do know they both ran into issues within the queer community themselves
Yeah.
because of their skin color
Yeah,
or
there
because of their
is-
cultural heritage.
There is racism like,
Yeah.
in the queer community. I think it
Mama,
was like
sweetie.
Marsha used to go by the name like Black Marsha, and then she changed it to Marsha P. Johnson. And then people would ask her like, "What's your middle name?" She
Yeah.
would just say "Pay it no mind," because people trying to like decipher what her
Ah.
gender is. So it's like Marsha Pay it no mind.
That's really
Johnson.
cool.
That's really cool.
I think.
But yeah, there is like that's something that I think we should talk about. That is cool. I think something we should talk about is like racism within the queer community.
itself.
Because
Mm.
racism is
I
everywhere.
feel like there's a lot of problems
Yeah.
in the community itself,
hmm
but it's not problems that are not fixable.
Yeah, it's not like it's the core.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll talk about that in a sec. So we'll be right back. And yeah.
Bye.
And we're back.
That's a short
Screw
little
me.
break.
I love that break. I love our breaks.
I think I need to make like a compilation of your reaction every time we come back from the break, because you're always like giggling.
Because we have fun in the studio.
We do have
We
fun in the
really
studio.
do.
We do.
I love what we do. It's a gift to be able to bring queer entertainment, queer noise to this platform on this day. It's truly God's gift.
It's what you wait for on a Friday.
It's what you
very
wait for on a
dark.
Friday.
Friday.
You heard it here
Honestly.
first.
Yeah.
There's nothing more.
It's what you wait for on a Friday.
Ultra feminine. than this.
Nothing less, nothing more.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's just what you wait for.
Exactly.
I mean, you know what also I'm waiting for on Fridays? RuPaul's Drag Race weekly episode.
Oh, you know, I met a horror.
What?
Yes.
Oh my God, what is she like?
Buff.
Yeah.
One word, buff.
Oh my god.
Buff. Horror is
I
buff.
can
You're a
imagine.
superstar.
Am I a superstar?
Yeah, you're a superstar.
You're an
We're all
all-star.
superstars.
You're all-star
Thanks.
season 7.
Hmm.
They're going to pick you up.
No.
Yeah, RuPaul's going to bring down her fracking van and she's going to like... yeah,
Frack me up.
It's coming right
No,
now.
yeah, because the joke is that RuPaul fracks.
Wait,
You didn't need to-
wait. I don't know if I'm wrong.
Ooh,
Mm.
you
But
probably
isn't
Controversial.
RuPaul
a man
transphobic?
in a wig.
Ooh.
Right.
Hey.
out the door.
We don't
young man.
support that.
No,
We
I'm
don't
joking.
support that. Over here, we don't support that.
Out the door.
So,
The reason why I said ooh because I was taking them back because I
Yeah.
didn't. I remembered. I was like,
Yeah, no, literally. And she had to release that statement going,
we're giving all this free
I've been learning
promo.
about drag, da-da-da-da-da.
we
But
take
it's
that
like,
back.
you're-
We take that
we
back.
take back our
But
promo.
We
it's
take
like,
that back.
taking it
We
back.
take it back.
But it is crazy though, because now that I'm thinking about it, Mama was doing drag since the 1800s. So it already surprises me that in New York,
In New York.
so it's like trans drag queens, New York. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, how could you think that
And
trans drag
like
queens are
you
not
said-
a thing?
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
like,
know, like it just,
like you
it's
said,
more. Sorry, go on.
It's fine. You have to
Yeah.
apologize. It's your show. It's alright. Like I
It
said,
is my
like
show.
and I forgot. God, like, no, yeah, like I said, like trans women did pave the way for a lot of queer people
They
and a
did.
lot for the
Black trans
LGBT.
women paved the
Yeah,
way.
paved the way. So it's a bit
And they're thrown to the
You know,
side.
it's a bit
Mm-mm.
something that RuPaul is transphobic.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't make sense.
It's a
like
shock.
it's just like there's just problems and problems and problems
are
and problems and
problems.
problems.
And I think like, because I saw like, things like criticizing RuPaul. And then people always like, but like he's done so much for the community. And like,
Yeah.
we have to take him
It's clearly not
basically because
enough.
he's the only representation we have. Like we just have to deal
What
with
is
it.
if it's, if it's, not,
reality,
if it's not
honestly.
enough, then it's not enough. Simple
It's not
as.
enough.
It's just that. If it's not enough, it's not enough.
Do you know what? This is opening up to a really interesting conversation on problematics in the community.
Yes,
And where
my
we go from
favorite
here.
topic.
I would love to. I
my
mean,
favorite
shall I start it
topic.
off? I mean, it's crazy because, and it's, we joke about it on the show, but when you think about it, it's like, God, if these people were unproblematic, it'd be so nice because they're
It would be
they're the very
It's-
few
no,
we have.
it just-
Azalea Banks, Aisha Erotica.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
Nikki's
her own mess.
Dragon.
Nikita Dragon.
Dragon.
RuPaul.
Oh my God.
These are all
my
iconic
heart.
human beings, but I just.
And who's the
Yeah.
other one that BLM? And he was like Starbucks all the time. What's his name?
Terry Crews?
No,
you
not
talking
Jeffree
about?
Star.
Wait,
What's his name?
No,
Wait.
Terry Crews?
No, he's on TikTok all the time.
I
and he's
know.
always like,
Wait,
you
Cruz.
stupid, da 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 with his Starbucks. And he's like,
the
Christian
star.
Walker.
yes, him, the demon of it all.
Christian
demon of it
And it's
all.
just
I
like,
don't know
oh
him.
my god,
Should
just
we-
what?
I don't know him.
Yeah,
I'm
okay,
sorry, guys.
Okay, so
Christ,
quick context
I,
for
might,
everybody.
I think I might have seen him, but I
He's
don't remember
infamous.
like
That's
his
the
face.
word.
Yeah.
He's infamous.
Infamous Republican.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
he is
I know
like
exactly
he's
who you're
this
talking about.
light-skinned gay.
Does he have, like, blue
like,
eyes or
hates
something?
I think
he
he has
hates
black
Pride
blacks.
Month, hates
Yeah,
BLM,
yeah, I know exactly
hates
who
the
you're talking
liberals, hates everybody. He's like, he'll be in his car and he'll be like,
Yeah,
and
the
the
videos in
ghetto
his car.
BLMers are trying to get us to buy Pride Month accessories so that the top liberal elites can da 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 da. And then
They just bring shame. Like they just bring
Starbucks.
shame.
Oh,
they bring
Lord.
shame to the name to the word gay. They do.
Yeah, I remember I saw
They
that. I
do. It's
saw a
just-
video of
It just, you know what it does?
once,
It
yeah.
It's
feeds-
insane.
it-
It's so
like,
funny,
it-
but insane.
Yeah, again, it feeds into the ideas of what homophobic people have of us,
Mhm.
and then it's like, oh my god,
It's the pick me gays.
yeah.
It's the like I'm gay,
God.
but I agree with the homophobic people.
Ooh.
Which is like, why do you want to be that person?
Yeah.
Don't be that gay.
It's like the POC.
It's
That's
cringe.
gay.
It's just cringe. It's one word. It's cringe.
Keep your opinion to yourself.
Yeah.
If
It's
you agree with it,
cringe.
keep it to yourself.
Okay, what's your guys' opinion on Grindr? Like real
Okay,
talk.
This is my topic. And let me tell you about this.
Yes,
I
read
feel
it.
like
Okay.
what's the word? Grindr is an app in a sense where young queer people should not and should never ever go to.
Yeah.
In a sense of it's the risks that you're putting up.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them, and I'm not here to slut shame them and say like, oh,
Yeah.
you're here just for a hookup. and
Ew,
blah, blah, blah,
young
because you're-
grinder.
Yeah, and I feel like that's what people do necessarily in the sense of like issues like this of young queer people being groomed by older men in a sense of, well, I'm not here to blame the young, like, I'm not here
Yeah,
to
of course.
blame
Yeah, it's a
somebody.
victim
Do you get what I mean?
blame,
I'm not going to sit
yeah.
here and say like, oh, you did that because you're a nasty little slag. Do you get what I mean? It's
Yeah.
not like that in a sense. It's these young people that have, I blame the world in a sense of that they haven't had the love to receive from somebody and they won't be able
Yeah.
to freely love themselves where they can do it openly in a sense where they have to go onto apps and hide and do it secretly.
Yeah.
And then they have to fall into the trap of messing with older men.
We didn't have
Do you
the
get what I
structure.
mean?
We didn't have
And
the
then
structure.
The problem is the older men in a sense is because they
Yeah.
have been young queer people at one
They should
point.
know
They know what it's
better.
like,
Yeah,
and
so
they're taking
it's
advantage
so
of that.
normalized. Like the grooming in the community is so normalized.
It's a huge
And I think it's
issue.
just so disgusting because it's like, to me, like, obviously like virgin or not virgin, like sex is such an important thing and it's such like a very
beautiful and important
Yeah,
and healthy
it's quite
thing.
personal.
Yeah, it's like a
experience.
personal thing, and it's like you can't just give it out for anybody and everybody. And I'm not saying, if you have just given up for everybody, like shame on you. It's just like you can go and reclaim that in a sense of you are not like
Don't do it on Grindr.
you're not the problem. You're just at fault. Do you get what I mean? So I'm not gonna say and blame you, but it's like we just need to be better. We just need to be better as a community.
How can we be better though?
I know.
How can we prevent, people like those young queers going onto Grindr?
I feel like they just need to be educated, and they need someone where someone is telling them like they actually love them and they are like they do deserve to be loved, and you will find love. And like I feel like some people just rush too quickly into it. Oh, sorry. Some people just like rush too quickly into it, and then they grow older. And like a lot of queer men, like especially I see on like my social media, like TikToks of like gay influencers talking about how they were younger and they like go into like hookups with like older men of like 20 to 30 or to 40.
Like it's a flex.
Yeah, no, but some of them actually sit here and say like, oh, it's wrong and it's something that we need to change, and it's so normalized in a sense that you're like, what, 13, 14 messing with like an 18, 19-year-old that's 20. Like it's not even a thing of like, oh, he's cute. No, it's just like it's a thing of these people are at an age of different maturity compared to you. And I feel like older people, they see the vulnerability in you that you don't receive this love and you don't receive this affection that they can give it to you, and this is what you get.
Yeah, and they generally convince themselves they're doing a good thing for you.
Yeah,
they're like, it doesn't matter. Like I'm providing you something that you need, rather than like taking it, like realizing they're taking advantage of the person.
God forbid. And that's the problem.
In the studio with all this devil talk going on.
It's actually really hot.
It is.
Boiling us
Even under this fur curtain, it's like our top.
Oh Lord Jesus,
But,
God.
Going back like to racism in the queer community, big boy topic.
Yeah, especially in queer spaces.
Especially queer spaces.
Yes.
In queer spaces.
So I guess I want to talk about like how do you navigate queer spaces as a person of color? Like when you go in, do you like do a little vibe check?
Absolutely,
I feel
do a
like
vibe check.
I haven't attended much queer spaces. Like I haven't been to clubs. I haven't been to like pride events.
Queer
stuff
space
like
could mean anything. It could be groups online. It could be like, so I don't know. When I say like queer spaces, it could be like public places, or it could be like talking to people in person. It could be like online spaces as well.
Because I went to Pride in the Park.
Oh,
part 1 and part 2. And if you went to Pride in the Park, you know exactly what I mean when I say part 1 and part 2, because my God, there were so many.
There was like 5 of them.
No, there were like 5 of them. And the 5th one was
Didn't
like
they do
really
like
ghetto.
a Pride and Winter Wonderland? I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, but I saw it on my like
Not
Snapchat.
the winter themed Pride. And it's like this.
We need to learn
Not the
when
remix.
we need to learn when to stop.
Yes.
We enjoyed it. Let the enjoyment stop there.
We should have
That's
stopped after
it.
part 2. That
I
was
think we
good.
should stop the part.
Oh my
Part
God.
two
But
wasn't
yeah,
even that good.
it was, no,
It was just
honestly,
messy. No, to be honest.
Yeah.
I feel like
It got crazy.
It was fun as it was a fun motive in a sense. Like it was fun.
Yeah,
It was nice to see other queer
cute,
people like our age.
Yeah,
and
to
like,
meet
friends
people.
like that. But some people came with different vibes and came to argue and fight people. It's like,
Do you remember?
you're just fitting again into the agenda of what people think of us. Like people just fighting. I'm seeing wigs getting snatched. I'm seeing And the thing is,
Really?
I understand. You can have a vendetta against someone. You can be angry. You can be upset. Like you're entitled to your
But let's
emotions.
not do that here.
It's not the place. Like,
people came with like different like ulterior motives. I remember when
Exactly.
I left Pride in the Park. Like we left quite early, the second one.
Okay.
With the group I came, and we're leaving. There was like a bunch of straight men on their bicycles, like coming in, and they were like, "Oh, like are you guys gonna kiss or something like that?" They were just being weird. They were being like.
Let's talk about that.
It was a bit
I feel
scary.
like heterosexual people feel like they're entitled to queer spaces, and that's why I don't like, because in a sense of we are rejected in heterosexual like spaces, like the one space we create for ourselves, they feel entitled to come to it in a sense. And I feel like the Pride Part 2, they just saw it as like a motive because they must have saw it on social media, and a lot of them came on like bikes and stuff like that and trying to be like, what? Bang, man, blah, blah, blah. But it's like, babe, you're at Pride. What do you expect?
Like, of course, like,
do you get what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? And it's just use your common sense.
Yeah.
Use your common sense.
There was people that were there, like, I guess, they were just like,
even
there
was
a guy
like
walking around with like his hands in his trousers or something.
Oh my God.
There
was one like that at
It was
Pride
so
Part
weird.
1, and it was really weird. And if you want to talk about grooming, oh my God. I remember him at Part 1, and he was there. Everybody was talking about him because he was like dressed like he literally just like left his sketchy little crack den. No offense to people who live in crack dens, but it was like he looked like he had just left that. Like he had just left.
Even
just left. Oh no!
I'm so sorry to
Audio
start.
listeners,
Can we take a break?
He literally just punched.
Can we take a break?
You just still hear me?
Oh, Technical difficulty.
Technical difficulty.
Hey, sound, did you get
I
that?
feel like I'm the most annoying
Sound.
guest.
No, it's alright.
I'm so
This is the
sorry.
Did you
first
get
time
that?
we've had the mic stand.
You're fine.
Okay, thank
Alright.
you.
Okay,
Can you guys hear me?
we fixed the mic.
Oh, we did. Okay, good.
And as
didn't
when I
have
say
to
we,
yell at
I mean
sound.
Kimi. Kimi fixed the mic.
So let's
Shout out
talk
to
about
Kimi.
it, about, you know, heteros before entitled to be in queer spaces. And there was a time on the Pipe Part 1 where I remember we was all in it was like a massive crowd, like a massive like pit.
Yeah.
Not a mosh pit because gay people don't do mosh pits.
Yeah.
They just do pits. But
They did
Do you
too
get me?
many pits.
Yeah, they just
because
do pits
people
and
lost
they
their
just do it separately
phones.
with different musics. But there was a girl behind me and I can hear like talking to this old man and it wasn't like a conversation of like, oh, hello. Like she was like clearly in like worry and distress. And then she tapped on my shoulder and told me like, oh, he's trying to take pictures of under my skirt. I was like, what? Like, this is pride. Like, what the fuck is a grown-ass man trying to take a picture of like another guy? Like,
Was it a white guy by any chance? Because it could have been the same
no,
person.
it was, I
no?
don't know, it wasn't a white man. It was a man. He
because
wasn't white.
because ours was a white guy and he came up to a lot of people that I met at the thing and they were like, yeah, he keeps asking like to take pictures of us.
No, but
like he looked way too old to be
He
there.
was trying to take pictures under her
was
skirt. And when I saw
creepy.
you, she wasn't wearing like a mini skirt. She was wearing like an ankle skirt. So he must have been
Oh no,
trying to
literally.
reach under. And I told him, if you don't move, I'm gonna slap the fuck out of you because one, why the hell are you in this like space? I don't care if you're
This is
queer
for
or not
under
queer. Why are
18s
you
and
trying
under
to say-
what
sis,
are you doing?
honestly.
Yeah, what you doing? And she had no friends. Like she wasn't with her. No, she wasn't with her friends at that time. She had her friends, but she wasn't with them at that time. So like, I just told her like, come chill here. And I just told him, if you don't move, I'm gonna slap you.
Oh my God.
And he walked off and left the park. But in a sense of, why was you
Why are you
there?
And
It
the
was
thing is,
so
there's no,
scary.
like, there is no way to like prevent these people from entering because you never
No.
know people's intentions when they come. So it's just a thing of like,
But it's nice
How
in
do
the
we
sense
deal
that
with
that
it?
girl, instead of just dealing with it herself,
yeah,
tapped on my
that
shoulder
she,
and told me
you know,
like,
let you
oh,
know that-
I need help.
Absolutely.
She could have been dealing with that. And,
Yeah,
like,
and he could have done something because the man
He
was
could've
bigger
done
than her.
something.
But
Yeah.
It's
the man
good that
was
she
big.
got to rely on the community to help her out. And I think that is definitely
Yeah.
one of our golden moments.
Are positive.
And yeah.
Even though some people in the community won't like each other, if there are some situations of where it affects us as a whole,
We need to
in a
put that
sense,
aside.
Yeah, we like people like that's what I like about the community. Like we put us like our arguments and our beef to the side when it comes to protecting each other because
Yeah.
it's like it's not like a huge community. Like it's a very, very small
Yeah.
in a sense. Especially the POC community is still very, very small.
Yeah, the queer
So
POC
it's like,
community.
especially as kids, it's good enough that we have each other's back in a sense of like in a situation of so let's say someone's been homophobic to you or someone's been like anything phobic to you and like I don't like you, but whatever they're saying, it's gonna affect me regardless because he's been homophobic as a whole. So I must
Yeah.
have your back because do you get what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean.
It's like-
I've had like situations where
Yeah,
I
and
don't
it's
like
like,
someone, but
I
I'm
would do
still
that.
gonna
Absolutely.
back you
In
and
a
back
sense,
you, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
because like I feel like that's importance that we have each other's back regardless of our disputes, regardless of our dislikes of each other, and it's good enough that we know what I know in my head
yeah,
that it's like that.
and you don't see that in many other spaces where
Yeah.
they'll just be like, you know, fuck off.
It is what it is. That's their
Fuck you.
business. Let them deal with it.
Yeah,
But like, I like it. I love it.
have a little bit of a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, yeah.
it's like
I
a
mean,
dysfunctional family. Basically.
It's a very deeply
It is.
dysfunctional family. And
It
do you know what?
is.
Somehow we make it out. And do you know what? A good example of that was in like that episode of Pose. Oh God, it's all spoilers, but there was a very special episode of Pose
Just spoiling everything.
where there was
No one can watch it.
where something happened to a character. Have you guys seen Pose?
Of course.
Okay, there was something that happened to a character with a C.
Audio listeners was
Character.
aggressively winking.
Yeah. With a C. And and so something happens to them. And although they had issues with some of the other protagonists of the show, it was when something like that happened to them, the others really stepped in and could only say
because
loving things about them, you know,
I feel
because they
like-
realized, you know what,
Yeah.
we are who
Like,
we are.
the
We're a
reason is
family.
because no one has each other. Like without the community, no one will have your back.
Yes.
And you're vulnerable.
Exactly
in that
that.
state. And we know how vulnerable we can be by ourselves. So we know we only have each other.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's the beautiful thing in the community. Like we're saying to talk about the cons, but that's one of the good pros. Like
Yeah.
The POC community also has like a similar thing. Like when you see,
I
think,
hope so.
we hope so.
Girl.
But I think there's like a unspoken like connection.
Yeah, so we'd have to vocalize like, oh, if something happens to you, I'm gonna defend you. It's like we just do it.
Mm.
Do you get what I mean?
We do what we need to do.
Yeah, it's not planned.
honestly.
It's
Yeah,
just-
we don't need to like know each other that well. Like if I see someone's like uncomfortable, like I'll help them out. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. That is something very much to be proud of for our generation. Like we do really come in clutch with everything. You know, we have I feel like we have a bigger sense of unity than previous generations. I don't know. Like I haven't seen this sense of unity since that sort of like era, since that generation of 1969, of the Black Panthers, of Stonewall, of all that. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a real like, so I'm going for a bit of a historical tangent here, but like it's really just to say like I forget whether it was Malcolm X's party or the Black Panther party. No, it was the Black Panther party. One of the leaders, I forget his name, but he always stood firmly that he would help the Asian community and also the queer community and also the women. You know, there was that real sense of unity. It didn't always work. Of course it didn't, because nothing's perfect, especially in those times. But there was a real sense of that. Like there was a form of unity. And even with Malcolm X and this other like Asian civil rights leader, this woman, and they had a very close relationship, this Japanese woman, and like they had that sort of sense of unity, and that was really powerful to have. And I feel like our generation is redoing that, you know, because it hasn't been there for a while.
Yeah.
So I think it's nice. It's nice for us to really come together for these. And it's happening. We're making the progress that needs to be.
But it's not all sunshine and rainbows.
Oh, it never was and never will be.
Can we please?
Let's do it then.
Can we
there's
please?
big issues. Like I think
yeah.
something I've seen recently is there's like kind of like same way we have the unspoken, you know, community and family. There's also like people who will be homophobic in the trans community or transphobic in the gay community. And it's just like, guys, what's going on?
It's like,
yeah, it's weird.
It's like you're killing, like, I'm not saying you're necessarily killing them, but you're just killing each other. Like,
Yeah.
you're just wiping yourself out.
And you're
for
trying
the-
to cling
you're
on
just
to the
wiping
sense of
yourself out to fit
privilege
that
that
idea,
you
like, there's not
have.
going to be no gay people no more. And you're just like, we're not getting anywhere. We're just going around. It's like a catch
It's like, it's like there's like two sides. Like the side that's like, you know, we all need to help each other and like work together because like we're a community. And there's a side that like, no, I only care about me and like my identity, my community. I don't really care about like the rest of like LGBT.
The others.
Yeah, they'll be like, they'll be, you know, I don't really care about like the other people, like our people, like, you know, they'll be like, you know, transphobic gays or lesbophobic trans people or transphobic lesbians. It's like, why? Like, why are we...
What's going on? No, literally, because
Can
it's
we
like you're
also
trying to
say-
cling on to this idea of privilege that you have. I mean, we all have privilege in some sense of the word. And it's like, so you're trying to hold on to the bare minimum, sis?
Yeah.
Really?
It seems like I
It's like
think
with black homophobic
they kind of hold
people,
on to their
like-
privilege in the sense of like their race.
Yeah.
But at the same time, in like queer discussions, they like to act like race doesn't play a factor
Yeah.
in homophobia.
Which is a
or
lie.
anything,
Absolutely.
Which is a lie.
There was a friend of
fat
mine
lie.
who once said, you know, doesn't matter like who we are, like in terms of this conversation that we're having right now of like other communities attacking each other. Like he always used to say, at the end of the day, we're all enemies of the enemy cis straight white man. Do you know what I mean? We're all enemies of the patriarchy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like we're fighting each other, but the real like the boogeyman is just looking at us and laughing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because it's ridiculous. Like we're all just like, we act like a bunch of like ants trying to take over each other's colony when like the big bad human is just gonna knock that colony over, you know? I don't know, that was a bit of a
I
scary
feel like-
analogy.
That was
but-
a really weird metaphor.
Yeah, I know.
Can we
but you
talk
get what
about
I mean?
like the toxic masculinity in the gay community?
No.
Oh,
I don't want to talk about it.
No, we have to, because this is something that needs to be spoken
we talked
about.
about it briefly in the last episode.
We did,
It
didn't
needs to be
we? We
spoken
were
about.
really feminine in that
Perfect.
episode.
What do you have to say about it, Marwan?
Because I feel like, in a sense of, you know, like the masculine man in the community that give people like that straight ideal image, but they're homosexuals in a sense.
Yes.
They hold onto that in a sense of, and they frown upon and they like look down upon like feminine men.
Yes,
And I just don't
absolutely.
understand that. Like it's one thing that will never ever get into my head. Like your gay is no different to mine.
You're still a homosexual at the end of the day.
Yeah. So it's like, where are we going with this? And it's just like, it's just confusing, like how
Mask
some
for
masculine
mask.
men,
Right?
how they'll sit
Thank
here and
you.
say like, oh, you
Masks
need to,
only,
I like,
femmes
I like
only.
my man manly. And it's like, what?
Girl, what?
Yeah.
What is manly? Like, you're literally a homosexual. That's not very manly of you. And like, it's just
They're
like, no, but
real.
it's the truth though, because it's like they want to fit into this idea yet again of like the heterosexual norm of
Yeah.
like being manly and
Of
then like
like,
this and like,
they were like,
gym
oh, yeah, I'm
bros.
gay, but like, I'm still a man. You
Yeah,
know
but
what I
it's
mean?
like, you can be
relax, big
masculine,
bro.
like you can, but let's not be toxic. Like toxic?
Yeah, we're
Let's not be toxic.
No, real
Yeah,
talk.
but let's not just be toxic. It's just confusing. I just don't understand why we have to frown upon feminine men and like, so what?
Absolutely. I mean, we're such complex human beings in general. So it's like you're really going based off of like this tiny aspect of a human being. Like, if that's the only reason you're looking for love, is if your only logic to like, I found the one is, oh, he's manly. Oh, honey.
God,
Listen, you're going to be, oh, no, it's embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself and you're just embarrassing the community. Do you know what I mean? And I'm just getting like a lot of twos at me and that means wrap it up. So, closing messages?
I love you all.
Oh,
that's so sweet.
I would just say random, but you know, I feel like that's what people need to hear, that they're loved. And that's it.
Yes.
And I feel like that's
You're
something
loved.
really, really important, that you're loved.
absolutely.
Yeah.
You are
And you're
loved,
great.
stay
And I feel like gay
safe.
people and just LGBTQ people in as its own, they're very, very powerful people.
Yeah.
We dominate the creative industries.
We've been doing a lot in the creative industry.
So
Yeah.
it's like
Big up.
we do a lot. So yeah, you will like a lot. You will be successful. You will do great things. Yeah, and don't let no one tell you shit.
Yeah.
Simple.
Don't let anyone limit you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you
I
have
love
anything to say, Enzo?
I mean, I think I said enough. Oh, actually, one last thing though. Good news on like the gay front or the LGBT front is that a Pride Cultural Centre opened up in London a couple months ago. So hopefully we can have like Pride in the Park, the remix there. It's like a Pride. Oh Lord! Okay. And on that note, I mean,
If only if we act right, then we could maybe, because
let's live,
let's laugh.
and let's love.
Bye guys.
Au revoir.